welcome to the 4th edition of the Full English. Only this week it's got a little bit more of an international feel to it. Obviously the Premier League, Championship, and I would imagine, I'll have to have a look now, but I would imagine most of Leagues 1 and Leagues 2 will be active at the weekend. But again, the big boys have the weekend off, and obviously the second big boys in the Championship. But yeah, there's a couple of games off. It looks like Reading, Northampton, Stevenage, Barnsley in League 1 postponed. They must have had a couple of internationals, but pretty much a full fixture list in League 2 and the Conference by the looks of it. So we'll have a little look through there. We must start with England. I mean, England have excited me that much recently that I didn't even know until I've just looked 2 minutes ago who England were playing. And whilst I do think the second game is a little bit more of a what we would describe as a proper fixture, they play a ski resort in the first game at home at Wembley. So I take that to a little bit of a warm-up match. Thomas Tuchel hasn't been great as England coach. His sides have looked a little bit confused, a little bit lost. His squad selections have been brave in some regards, but then very, very strange in other regards. And again, his squad for this camp, there is some selections in there where they do leave a scratch in your head. But again, we have to trust in what he's trying to do. He's got a short-term turnaround to get England productive and capable of winning a World Cup in North America in a year's time or whatever it is, in a season's time. But they don't excite me. They don't fill me full of confidence, certainly based on the performances under Tuchel so far. So I will be watching the Serbia game, the second game, with a bit of interest, because that will be a tricky place to go. England should be overwhelmingly favourites there due to the quality of the players we have at our disposal. But it'll be an intimidating atmosphere. It'll be physical, or certainly as physical as the modern game gets. And I think England will be thoroughly examined. Obviously, before that, they've got a warm-up game. But I do look at some of the younger players in the squad. One of them I've coached, Elliot Anderson. Certainly his performance in the West Ham game last time out, positionally, is Tuchel going to be able to throw Elliot into the Lions' den in Serbia for World Championship qualification? Is that what it's called now? World Championship?
The World Championship.
World fucking Championship. So yeah, I mean, the Andorra game would be a perfect opportunity to have a look at him, but I think you want experienced players going into take it the game will be in Belgrade. You want experienced players going into that type of situation, and obviously with the poor performances so far under Tuchel, I don't think he can afford many more poor performances. It is a short-term contract, and could we see, if England don't do well and get maybe a poor performance and poor result in Serbia, could we see Tuchel come under a bit of pressure
already?
Well, he's only on a short-term deal, and it's obviously been a deal to aim and gear at and try to be successful at the next World Cup. If he's only signed for 2 years, it doesn't say, look, this is a guy we want to take us into the next Euros and the next World Cup beyond that to build something. This is a short-term fix to get short-term results, and obviously if it doesn't look like that's going to be forthcoming, could we see? I mean, the FA is chaotic, as we're seeing from the Lucas Paqueta situation. They've been absolutely nailed in the press today for shoddy case building and witnesses and stuff like that, and they look like they've cost the people who contributed to the federation a lot of money in terms of legal fees, because they've obviously lost that. There's another couple of cases rumbling on there about fair chance to representation because of the way the FA structure their hierarchy. So I think the FA is a barn pat at this moment in time. I wouldn't trust them to fucking hit a cow's arse with a banjo. The reeks of diversity, the whole place, petrified to do anything for fear of how it looks and how it'll be interpreted. HR will be running rampant. Already folded and bent the knee many times to different people.
A couple of comments have said, obviously, about your Tuchel comment then, that Mourinho would definitely be lipping that up.
I could see that. I could see Tuchel I mean, this game in Serbia is huge because I think with Mourinho and the fact that everybody knows Jose loves London, it's a kind of a home away from home for him. His family are settled there. You know, I think he's got that love-hate relationship with the media. I think he's at the stage of his career now where he could take an international job. I think he's done in club football after Fenerbahce. You know, the politics of the referee and he was complaining and fighting against in Turkey. Obviously, stuff that was going on within the board and the ownership structure of the club he was currently managing at, which was Fenerbahce. And it just looked a mess. Now, usually when them coaches have the feel of kind of top European opportunities, they sometimes, you know, pivot into international football. And I would not be shocked to see one day Jose Mourinho manage England. And he could be the SOS, he could be the Sam Allardyce that comes in and saves England if Tuchel keeps not progressing this England side. I mean, I think this is a tricky England side to manage. I think there's a lot of big egos in there. There's a lot of players who are good players, but all kind of play in a similar position. And I think knitting that together and gelling it as a team requires an incredibly strong person. And I don't think Thomas Tuchel is that person. I think I was excited initially by his appointment, but I think his lacklustre performance so far has made me realise that he's not the man to take England forward. I would like to see him removed, and I would like to see Mourinho given the job. I think Mourinho gives us a better chance of winning the next World Cup than Tuchel, and you have to be ruthless in order to win. And I think if we lose to Serbia in Serbia, Andorra ski resort, who gives a bollocks about that? If we go to Serbia and we don't, you know, get out of Serbia unbeaten, I mean, we should be going there to win based on, you know, the players we have at our disposal. But it's a tricky place to go. If we go to Serbia and we get our bellies tickled and we get rolled over, which could easily happen to this group, then I think Thomas Tuchel's time as England manager is it should be brought to a close, and we should go in a different direction, a direction of proven winners, and obviously for me, you know, Jose Mourinho would be the perfect man. Because I don't think you're going to get Eddie Howe out. I think Eddie Howe for me is
not this year.
Eddie Howe for me is if he wants the job, I'd be more than happy to see Eddie, because I think the way he'd go about it, I think he could actually build. If you said to Eddie Howe, here's the England job, and you've got 10, 12 years to build, I think Eddie Howe, the way he builds players from an athletic standpoint, you know, you don't have to transfer players in and out, which is what's killing him at Newcastle at the minute. I think Eddie could put a programme together for the FA that could, you know, Michael Owen, I don't know whether you've seen the Michael Owen interview this week. Guys will have seen it with Rio Ferdinand. I thought it was good. I mean, I haven't watched it all, I've only seen the clips. And we'll get into that in a minute about your generation, Noah, compared to my generation. But, you know, on that, Michael talks about, you know, England have won a world tournament at under-17s. If you remember when, I think it was Steve Cooper was the manager when he went, which was a big thing for, here's the next golden generation. Then we've won, I think, under-19s, under-20s, under-21s have been successful under Lee Carsley a couple of times. But then if that doesn't, what's the point in all that if we don't then win European Championships and World Cups? Like, I don't understand why we celebrate it, because we have two things that are working completely in juxtaposition with each other, which is you've got the Premier League and how brilliant the Premier League is and how well the Premier League's doing, as opposed to England and the international scene. So it's all good and well, the young players doing well and international players going and doing well in the Premier League. But if we can't give opportunities to our homegrown talent, you know, another Scottish, the Welsh and the Irish and Northern Irish will have a bit of a say in that. But if we cannot, as the host country, create opportunities for our younger players to then be given, you know, Michael spoke about, you know, young players getting 50, 80, 100 games before the age of kind of 21. You know, if we've got in our Premier League clubs these bottlenecks where our best players are not getting opportunities because of foreign superstars. So for instance, the player I think they used was Mohamed Salah and Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott's been part of that England group that's done fantastically well.
Massive part as well.
He's been a great servant from being a young player at Liverpool. You know, he's bided his time. He's been a substitute. He's played when there's been injuries. He's played when the clubs needed them to, and he's produced in moments. But because of Mohamed Salah being a superstar, a global superstar who never wants to miss a minute, because he's chasing greatness like Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi, you can't take them off, because that's an opportunity to score or make a goal, and they're chasing greatness. So Harvey Elliott's not getting the last 10, 15 minutes of games that might aid his development, and he's had to now eventually having sit and kicked his heels for a couple of years, albeit smashing its head in at under 21, under 20, under 18, under 20 level. And he can't get in the England national team, whereas somebody like a Jude Bellingham, who played for a smaller club, who's then got sold to a foreign market in terms of going to Borussia Dortmund, then has amassed 100 games. He's then playing in the international team, flourishes on an international scale, and earns a move to Real Madrid. Now, how many talents, if you do not get the right opportunity at the right time, how many talents are we going to waste in this country? So we have to get, I think, our heads together to create a platform. And the problem you've got is, as you see, and if you drop into the lower leagues now, American millionaires, billionaires are buying into lower league clubs, as we've seen with Ryan Reynolds and the investment they've put in at Wrexham, who I think have just spent 32 million, having been in the conference for a number of years and spent heavily to get out of those leagues. They have no interest in player development. They just want success. They want it now. They want to get to the riches and get there now before the shop closes, before it becomes an NFL and it's a closed model, because when the tide goes out, we'll only know who's wearing trunks when that moment finally happens. And I think we've just seen the first precursor of the tide going out. What is that? Daniel Levy, 25 years at Tottenham Hotspur, deciding, time out for me. Can't take it no more. Now, Daniel Levy's got a job for life there, because Daniel Levy is the son-in-law of the owner, Joe Lewis. He's married to his daughter, isn't he? Oh, so he has a job for life. Now, I think either Tottenham have realised that the Dutch tulip market is about to burst. Okay? This football, this game is unsustainable when people are struggling to live, and we've got the money in football that we've got. It is an unsustainable business model. So whether Daniel Levy's thought, do you know what? No, I can't do right for doing wrong here. I'm trying to run the club as sustainably as I can, give the club a fantastic new stadium, fantastic playing facilities, and he likes to find a deal for investment in playing staff. He's always hired good managers, or managers Spurs, whether it was Mourinho's or Ange or who's the lad who's fucking Pochettino, and he's tried his best, and yet Spurs just come up short. They've managed to get in the Champions League, they've managed to win a trophy in terms of the Europa League last year, and they've managed to start the season okay. And I think he's just gone, what more can we do? We cannot compete no longer with these nation states and these multi-billionaires. And I think they've decided to either take further investment to try and get Tottenham to compete, or to cash in the chips. And Levy's a very intelligent guy. And I would imagine the guy who's his father-in-law, to make even more money than him, must be even more savvy and more intelligent. And I think they've realised we can sell Tottenham here for... Well, if Chelsea got taken off Abramovich and the figure was putting on 3 billion, which was in 2020, was it? 2021? Just after COVID, the Ukraine war breaks out, maybe. When was it? Just before that? Maybe when did Chelsea get sold? Just get that for us for reference. Yep. And it was valued at 3-point-something billion. I thought when they took the football club off 2022, when they took the football club off Roman Abramovich and put the money in escrow somewhere and then give it to Todd Bowley or sold it to him, I thought that was a dangerous precedent to set. And now what we're seeing is, I think it's turned into the Wild West, and I think Liverpool have been a huge contributing factor in that. I think what we've just seen with Alexander Isak's saga, the situation there, where we've had the player who's signed a long-term contract. He had 3 years left on his contract. He didn't have anything in the contract to break it. I know Alexander's come out and said there was promises made and stuff like that. But as we all know, who've been in that world, been in that business, if it isn't written in black and white in your contract, then the likelihood is you're not going to get it. It is a ruthless business from that regard, and that works both sides of the aisle. You know, if you're a player and you sign a 5-year deal and then you get an injury that is very, very serious and maybe damages your career and you never get back to that position ever again, then you will be compensated for that due to the strength of your contract. And when we've got players now who are just negating that and just saying, I've got a contract and it's basically not worth the paper it's written on, because if I decide I want to go, then I'm just going to fucking cause absolute chaos to get out. And I can't say that, you know, I haven't done that myself before. Like, you can engineer a move as a player. But I think there's got to be some kind of grey area where clubs and players agree. You know, in the last year of your deal, I kind of get it. Or the last 6 months of your deal, I kind of get, you know, trying to find a resolution. But if you've got 3 years left and you were happy to sign a 4-year, 5-year, 6-year deal or whatever it was, and the security that brings, then unfortunately, when you decide you want to go, you can't refuse to play and absolutely cause havoc and spoil the energy in your club and in your dressing room, in my opinion. I don't think that's the right thing to do, and I don't think we should be rewarding that. And if we look at the situation with Isak, and we have to ask ourselves, Mark Gay, all right, and Alexander Isak both wanted to go to Liverpool by the looks of it. One has got a year left on his deal. One has got 3 years left on his deal. One has done absolutely everything by the book. He's played for his manager in European competition to grind a result to get them through. He's played full octane, full tempo, hasn't, you know, shirked a tackle or you know, been kind of guilty of maybe protecting himself during the games he's featured in for his club this season. He then manages to score in his last game, top corner goal away from home to complete an incredible 3-0 victory, or, you know, the second goal in that to put, you know, the team in a commanding position. Does everything right, says everything right, versus a guy who does absolutely the opposite, the polar opposite in some quarters. And I haven't watched Newcastle live often enough to level this at him, but in some quarters they're saying this guy dropped anchor towards the back end of the season so that Newcastle maybe didn't qualify for the Champions League, which meant it would have made it easier for him to ask for this move to get out of the club. Now, I can't believe that happening, but I did think it was going to be a major problem for Liverpool if Alexander Isak, and we spoke about it on our show many, many times. We spoke about it saying if Newcastle qualify for the Champions League and the fact that they've beaten them in the League Cup final, this could pose a problem for Alexander wanting to get his dream move, you know, after giving Virgil van Dijk a love bite on the pitch in the Carabao Cup final. We all knew what he wanted to do. As disappointing as it was, people knew which way the wind was going to blow with Isak, but then, you know, to accuse him of what he's been accused of, and I think Isak started a libel, maybe he started some kind of proceedings, and so I said alleged against the people who've said this. I think it was a journalist who said it, and it was in maybe the Athletic. I don't know. We'll find it. Can you find it? Just to be sure, just so I don't get fucking sued off the Athletic. and Isak's said he's going to sue them because basically they've said, you know, he was not playing as well as he could and taking chances, so that Newcastle didn't finish in the top four, and he didn't.
There's rumours.
There's rumours he's going to sue them or something like that.
There's rumours that it could turn ugly if they start to like diminish his reputation.
Okay, and then he's obviously had this issue with his fitness and all the stuff that's gone on, the saga. Eventually he gets his move to Liverpool, and, you know, he's back with the Swedish camp, and he looks like he's fit and ready for minutes and games for Liverpool. The minute the season resumes after the international break. So I'm looking at that going, if we were training dogs, all right, and we've got one dog who shit on the carpet, absolutely bit all your fucking cushions, fucking shit everywhere, pissed all over all the other dogs, fucking absolutely took the piss out of you, you would come in and give him the treats and reward him and say, good lad, good boy, pat him on the head, good lad, scratch his belly. And on the other hand, you've got the other dog who's done it absolutely by the fucking letter. He's pissed on the fucking little mat you've put in the fucking in the corner. He's fucking sat on this fucking little bed all day, done everything right. He's actually picked the remote up off the floor and started tidying up some of the other fucking dog's mess and put the fucking remote back and all that, trying to do everything he can for his club. And he's the one who gets fucking put in the kennels and fucking kicked out through in the back garden. Fucking get out in the rain, you little cunt. Because he's got to go back to Crystal Palace. Like, we're rewarding bad behaviour. Like, the media in this country have just rewarded Alexander Isak, basically showing everybody that the fucking contracts footballers wages and length of contract and deals are written on are not worth a fucking carrot. They're not worth the paper they're written on, because they can just down tools, cause absolute havoc, and next minute the clubs fold and bow to the pressure. And especially now with the HR departments and mental health, well, what's this doing to his mental health, and I'm going to sue him. Well, we have to get some kind of middle ground, some kind of common sense here. For if clubs are going to give players guarantees and demand transfer fees, then there has to be a two-way street of some kind of loyalty, some kind of integrity from the players and the agents' standpoint to make sure that we have a harmonious relationship. If they don't do this, we're going to get problem, reaction, solution. Similar as we've just seen this week with the digital IDs, that, you know, we've got an immigration problem, we need digital IDs, and then next minute, CCP, social credit score, all of a sudden we get fucking absolute imposters like Angela Rayner and Keir Starmer and them cronies deciding whether you've been a good boy or not, and you can get some credits to get food and travel on transport, or you can't. And the arbitrator, the PFA, and the PFA now have got to come out and say, look, you know, there has to be some kind of process. I get if you're a player and you want to move, you know, you can hand in a transfer request and obviously make the whole world aware that you want to leave the club. Something can go drastically wrong and it can be you want to leave, and you shouldn't really have to justify that. You know, I want to leave. I want to keep whatever's happened in the confines of the club or the dressing room, and I want out. That's it. So I'm not saying if you sign for a club for 5 years you have to stay there, but what you can't do is decide that you want to upgrade and you're going to do everything in your power to upgrade, and even if that's upgrading to the nearest rival. Do you think Apple would just give their top engineer to Huawei? Do you think like any of the top companies that have intellectual property or a superstar in the making, even if it's a bank or a hedge fund or whatever it is, would they just allow their competitor, somebody to just come in and just run roughshod and take your best assets? Especially when they're under contract and you're going, well, hang on, if Alexander Isak would have done his cruciate ligament or been involved like Michael Antonio was in a car accident in his Ferrari and never been able to play again, Newcastle would have paid his wages to the penny for the length of his contract. So if that loyalty's there for the football club, well, where's the loyalty on the player? Because if Alexander Isak gets injured and or plays like a cunt, or actually doesn't, he still gets paid the same. So I think the fact that he's gone and broken that contract and everyone's celebrating it, I think two things have happened there. You've showed anyone from an investment standpoint that footballers and footballers' contracts aren't worth a fucking carry. And secondly, you know, I think the people celebrating him and patting him on the back and, you know, all that, I think he should be fucking hounded. I think he should be universally hounded at every ground he goes to for his behaviour. Whereas Mark Gay, on the other hand, should be given fucking a standing ovation for showing this is the proper way to do things. Look, mate, I know you haven't got your dream move to Liverpool, but the way you fucking conducted yourself for your football club, as the captain of the football club, as a leader of men, as an example to the next generation of players, is exemplary. And I think the football world, hopefully anyone watching this, make sure you fucking give that lad an absolute standing ovation. On the other hand, Isak, he should be fucking booed every ground he goes to. I know you won't like that, and he will do anyway for playing for Liverpool, but he's behaved like a fucking absolute bastard there. And I think we have to be careful of the ramifications of the way Isak's behaved. Anyway, it is what it is. As I said to you, the mercenaries, the slags, footballers, not all. And you do see, you know, there is players out there who go above and beyond for the football clubs. But unfortunately, in the modern era, they're becoming less and less and less. Okay, just to pivot onto another cunt while we're on the subject of cunts. Luis Suarez.
Oh, lad. Fucking hell.
I've watched the incident and I've seen Tim Howard. I don't know whether you've seen Tim Howard and Landon Donovan have got a podcast, Unfiltered Soccer Podcast, I think they're called. It does feel a bit strange. I know they were good players over here for Americans, but it does feel a bit strange listening to them talk soccer in an American accent, man. It doesn't seem right in that language for some reason. It's yeah, I don't know, but it isn't. And they were talking about Tim Howard basically saying he'd have smashed his head in. He can't believe any of the Seattle players haven't like filled him in. Now the clip I seen, I couldn't see him spit on him. He looked like he was kicking off, and he looked like, but I didn't see actual spit go on him. Now I haven't seen that. I've only seen it on iPhones where my lad showed me it, and he's like, I'm like, I can't really see it, but has he actually spat on him?
Full golly, don't they? I think it's a coach's face.
Okay, so
bad, like.
Yeah. Well, again, he's that
he's got
type
a mad track record, hasn't he? Like mad. He's just a mad character.
He just has that that Bobby Boucher, doesn't he?
Yeah,
just has that flip on the pitch. I wouldn't. Yeah, it's hard to put yourself in his shoes there. Like, I don't know how that happens. I don't know how you've got to keep at all times absolute control of yourself on a footy pitch. Like, if anything happens or anyone tries to rile you up, just do what I did. A few deep breaths, take yourself out of the equation, do not get involved. It's a lesson for all you kids out there. Suarez, so what are you saying? He's going to get maybe kicked out the MLS here, because it's an outrageous look for their league.
It's a mad one. Like, it's just like, even fighting's better than spitting in someone's face, you know what I mean?
I can't believe they haven't got stuck into him though, the opposite team, but then he's an old fella, isn't he?
He's an old fella, like, he just took it. But like, people probably wouldn't have seen, no one's seen it. The coaches felt it, and obviously it's happened, but like...
someone's got to chin him there, eh? Someone's got to get stuck into him there if they find out. But, I mean, you can't... I mean, Busquets has threw a punch at somebody, hasn't he? And I don't know whether that's before or after, so I don't know whether one of their players is trying to get to Suarez to say what's going on here, and Busquets has ended up stopping him, but it does look like Sergio Busquets has threw a dig. But then Miami are the MLS team, aren't they? You've got Beckham there. They've obviously got the gay kit, the big pink gay kit outfit, the flamingo gay, pinky gay outfit, and obviously Messi's there. So probably nothing will happen. Money talk, especially in America. I mean, O.J. Simpson's, got off with what he got off with. It's
Messi's best mate in it, so he's not going to let Suarez. He'll just get away with it probably, just for the sake of Messi.
Oh yeah, they won't, because Messi will just say, no, not happening on my watch. I'm the king of this league, so yeah, unfortunately not happening on my watch. If you want to do anything about it, I'll just send my bodyguard down who just rugby tackles kids at like 300 mile an hour to sort you out. So I think that'll be the end of it. It was an interesting thing. I don't know whether you've seen NBC Sports do a programme with Howard Webb and Michael Owen.
Sorry?
Michael Owen and Howard Webb do an NBC Sports programme, I think, or it was on NBC Sports. I've seen the clip where
do you mean like a live show?
Yeah, where they're talking about the refereeing's decision with the referees, Mike and all the mic'd up. The goal we were talking about last week in the Fulham debacle of a goal taken away from Fulham in the Chelsea-Fulham game. Josh King, who opens the scoring, they've got the audio and they're playing that footage live, and it's the first time, I think this decision's the first time I've seen the referees union, Howard Webb's, PGMOL, and we'll talk about them in a minute, and your Dermot Gallagher's all being in agreement that's an absolute farce of a decision. And they were going through that, and when you listen to the audio, it just gets worse and worse. It's a bunch of traffic wardens who have not got a fucking clue really what's going on the edge of a game or in the big moments that need to be decided, that are getting themselves involved. Let the fucking referee on the day referee the game. If he asks for a further look at something, or you should not be in his fucking ear unless it's something that is way beyond the realm. I'm just saying now, I wouldn't even let them in now, because they've taken the piss by coming in with what they describe as clear and obvious fucking errors. That, that goal in that game should never have been allowed. Chalobah was in the wrong position. Muniz could do nothing other than put his foot where he could put it because of gravity on this fucking planet. And of Chalobah getting in the wrong position, being the wrong side, is his fault. He has not played a foul. It's a foul on Muniz by Chalobah because he takes his footing away from him. And how he has given that the other way and actually disallowed that kid's first ever Premier League goal is sacrilege. That is what is wrong with football. You've got a young kid there, an academy product from Fulham, who scores away at Stamford Bridge. His fucking dream. He's West London. He's dreamt of that as a kid. scores the opening goal, which could make his team go on and win the game, and it's chalked off by a fucking traffic warden sitting in a fucking van in fucking Stockley Park wanking to penguin porn in between watching the game.
What now?
Absolute fucking idiots. And then you see, what do we do with them? They're not, that was what David Coote was doing, wasn't he? What was it, sniffing cocaine and wanking to fucking penguin porn or something? That what they're into. Now, when you look at these fucking divvies, and I'll have to tell you, one of my pals texted me during the week saying, have you seen this? Now, this fella has played for one of the old firm. He's played for one of the big two in England. He's played abroad. He's, spent a couple. His career spans a couple of decades from the 90s, 2000s into 2010, 3 decades. And he texts me. He's an assistant coach now at a club. I won't say what club because I don't want to out him. And he sent me a video this week of the match officials coming, and the match officials, you've seen them all with the fucking lines in the fucking heads now, all them fucking bellends, because they know they're going to be on the telly, and we're going to be mic'd up to say this is how we're going to give this decision here, because we don't know what we're on about. And they come on the mic with the fucking line drilled in their heads, and they've got big mad boots with big mad loops on, but they're not like Copa Mundials, they're like the Questra. They're like the ones that people who have never played footy buy, because they go, what's the point in buying Copas? These ones look the same for 60 quid, for 50 quid. Because the Jags and they're not traditionalists, they don't know anything about the game. And yet they might play on a Saturday or Sunday, or they might have been sub for the school team for fucking a couple of games, but they know nothing about the game of football. Case in point, the fucking lines that they're shaving in their heads to be on the Premier League games. And we've all seen them over the years of playing, and they've ran the line in certain games, and next minute they're upgraded to referees, next minute they've got VAR, and they're ruining the game from a spectator standpoint. The only thing that's saving the game at the minute is there's that many knobhead footy fans who are prepared to pay hundreds of pounds and thousands of pounds for Premier League tickets that are driving a fucking Dutch tulip market. But eventually this is all going to crash and burn, because people will not be able to afford the nonsense. You can't pay £250 to watch a game of footy. Same way you can't pay £400 to fucking go and play a game of 18 holes of golf. They're just taking the piss, and the bubble will burst. They don't care when it bursts. They'll make as much money as they can, like every other cunt, until the bubble bursts. But I'm telling you, the way it's going on at the minute, it is unsustainable for many, many factors. We've got absolute imbeciles in the stadiums, influencers, people who have got no right to be there, who are just there for the likes, for the content, for the noise. And at the minute, these fucking referees who are going to the games with foam rollers, they're going in the stadiums with foam rollers, they're going in with big mad wash bags and all that. You see it with the Lionesses as well, and I'll talk about them. London Lionesses breaking the women's world record this morning. Fucking madness, that caught me on the Sky this morning. And the PGMOL now have got its own Instagram page and its own social media page. You fucking refs. Nobody likes refs. Refs, celebrities that we're seeing, Clattenburg, Kalinas, all this. That's because they were good refs. So you get a chance after it. But if you're refereeing in fucking League One and the Championship and that, and you're a fourth official at a fucking Prem game, or you're in the VAR studio, settle down. Fucking shaving the line in your ear. You're not a player. You're there to do a job, which is enforce the rules to the best of your ability. And that's it. Referees should be fucking heard and never ever seen. Heard via the whistle. I don't mind the fact that now they're mic'd up. And if we want to use technology, VAR, we have to use it the same way as rugby. We have to use it where the ref in the stadium is in control of the game and he's mic'd up and he's accountable to the game. We can't have somebody outside refereeing it, because it opens up the accusations. And I do believe now this game in our country is absolutely bent. It's certainly steered towards the top clubs being successful, because there's no way in the world, if Chalobah would have done that spin turn on Moniz and that was the other way around at Stamford Bridge, that goal would have been disallowed. There's loads of decisions I've seen this season already, and we're less than 2 months into it, where you look at the Man United penalty, you look at the offsides that are getting given, you look at some of the calls that are given, that are slowed down, and refs either not consulted on or goes to the side and shown a certain angle slowed down, and then they give the decision that ultimately they want to give. And I don't think that's in fairness of sport. I think there has to be an element of spontaneity to sport. I think there's something about football that is like no other sport that has to retain an element of jubilation and celebration and emotional release. And you can't even celebrate a goal now because you'd have to hang fire for a few minutes to wait whether the fucking referees decided and all that. And that's the NFL. That's what every touchdown now has a booth check, and that's the NFL. That's American sports and that's advertising space. We don't want that here. There's something that makes football the greatest sport in the world. Case in point, go and have a look at Messi's last game, or it looks like it might be his last game on Argentinian soil, in the stadium where the fans are all singing to him after they've lined up for the national anthems. There's no other sport on the planet that does that. I get the big collegiate system in America, and you get Alabama, fucking Texas, and Texas Rattlesnakes playing each other in the collegiate fucking Rose Bowl or whatever in the collegiate football. Like, they get a bit territorial and a bit emotional. But nothing like football. You'll see it right across the globe. There's no sport like ours that brings people together and creates incredible moments of euphoria, and in many, many ways can change, the flow of the way people think. And you've seen in countries here how there's been a lot of movements that have started on football terraces for the good of humanity. Now, we have to scale this model back, because nation states and oligarchs and American tech billionaires, and these are the only people who are going to be able to keep football going and make it sustainable. So they're going to eventually, if they haven't already captured, they're eventually going to own our football clubs. And we've just seen last week Chelsea sell a player to one of their other clubs and then buy him back 33 days later. Like, they're just taking the piss. Like, how can there be rules for Newcastle and Aston Villa, and Villa have got to sell Jacob Ramsey, and not rules for the other teams? Like, it's just wrong. Like, where's the fair competition? Isn't that what football's about? That you've got yourself and your own energy, and if you get a group of you together, like Celtic when they win the fucking European Cup, and they're born within 9 miles of the stadium, like, or you see a homegrown player like a Steven Gerrard score an incredible goal to kickstart a Liverpool comeback, and then win in incredible circumstances to bring home a major trophy for his hometown club. That is football for me. Football isn't data and like what Arteta's doing at Arsenal at the minute, where they've just got 2 players for every position, and that's how I'm going to get them to fucking compete against each other and drive. Martinelli's going to compete with Ezra, and that's what's going to bring the best out in the team. No, you're just stale as fuck. And once people have worked out how to play against you, your antidote to that is to go to the next player in the sequence. It doesn't work. Trossard bailed you out loads of times with that last year because he's a goal scorer and he can decide games. But you've fucked the job up. Like, we've gone stale, data-driven, VAR-impacted, non-contact football, and it fucking bores the pants off you. On the international scene, we've got England playing Andorra tonight. Gives a fuck. Honestly, who gives a fuck? I could go and get a group of lads together. If you said to me, right, you got from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m, get on your phone, go and sit in a pub in Liverpool, call a few lads in for a pint, I could get a better team together who'd beat Andorra tomorrow, and we'll have a few pints this afternoon. To fucking turn Andorra over tomorrow, 42 years of age. Noah will probably be on the bench based on his last performance for the Parklands last week that I've seen. Well, first half certainly, second half you might get 20 minutes off the bench. But we'd beat Andorra. Andorra are fucking crap. What business have England got playing Andorra? What does that do to anybody? Has anybody got the lipstick out tonight thinking of England, licking the chops, thinking of England versus Andorra? No. So it'll be full of nonsense. Serbia game, yeah, all right, that's a proper game. Go to Serbia to see what we're about. Drop this fucking nonsense footy out. And again, I don't know whether you've seen it. The nonsense pottery starts at the weekend. I fucking turned my telly on today thinking, I'm coming in to do the show. I'll get a bit of the international scene, a bit of the lowdown. Oh, no, I won't. Because my subscription this weekend has paid for the launch of the nonsense pottery nonsense, the Nonsense League. And, I don't know whether you've seen this, the world record has gone this morning. Somebody who I've never heard of has gone from PSG Eindhoven, ladies, cosplay, to London City Lionesses. So they're obviously trying to muscle in on the nonsense pottery angle, but they haven't got a team in the league. So why have we got all teams that have got women's teams and we've just got a team made up to impact and make money out of the Lionesses nonsense pottery? Anyway, The Lionesses Nonsense Pottery have broke the women's world record. Wait till you hear this. £1.43 million, which is a lot of money. I would like that in me skyrocket this afternoon, no danger about that. But Alexander Isak has just fucking shit that. Just had a shit this morning, and he shit out £2 million this morning. Alexander Isak's third is actually worth more than the most expensive women's player on the planet, because he's just been sold for £125 million. So that, if the women's record is 1.43 million, then it shows that at this moment in time, the best women's footballer on the planet is worth about 1/100th of the best male footballer. Because what did Neymar go for? 150 or something at the men's record at the minute?
Is that what the record is to PSG?
So
Barca,
the 100th within the rating of 100th of it. Now, I still think that's an extortionate amount of money for a female footballer, but I suppose market forces dictate. It'll be interesting to see what gets it going in there, because I would imagine if there's money to be had, you'll see all the top agents flipping over and start to sign women clientele. But again, I think they will, from a marketing perspective, maybe take the top 10 or 15, because all the big brands are paying them now, and there's a commission on that. You know, probably the same commission that you would get for doing a deal for a kind of maybe championship player or a lower end Prem player. But it'll be interesting to watch a space. But the women's world record's gone this morning, and the Nonsense Pottery, they're going heavy for it. Everywhere I looked this morning on the Sky channels was Nonsense Pottery filled. So yeah, I thought the international team might have got a look in, but unfortunately they didn't. Just to digress away from this, we're going to go into a little bit of politics here. Did anybody see the Chinese military parade that took place this week? Yeah? Thought you might have seen it, considering that shirt you've got on.
Up the head.
That must have come with the Chinese military. Well, it's a good shirt, but like the Chinese military done a full open up. Putin was there. What's the North Korean fella's name? Kim Jong-il? No, that's his dad. Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un.
Was there. So the North Korean leader and Xi Jinping, who's the Chinese leader, and Vladimir Putin, and they had all the tanks and all the new missiles, and they put a full parade on with the army and all that. It looked incredible. I think it looked like, was it Tiananmen Square that they did it? I don't know whether that's where it was, but it looked quite official Chinese residence. People will watch it. It's incredible. Marching to precision and all that. And I think it was a show. Donald Trump spoke about it, saying he thinks it was a show of kind of where they're at and can he do a deal with them. It just makes you realise how fucking much of a firm of idiots we've got running our country, when, as the Chinese have got massive ballistic missiles that no one's ever seen before, super duper tanks that no one's seen before, marching women, men in the army, all doing like incredible. Actually, you're looking at it going, and it looked immaculate how they done it. And at the same time, our Deputy Prime Minister, who's the housing minister, has been caught fucking with her hands in the till within a year, has fucked the job up and has to resign this morning because she's not paid the right amount of stamp duty on her third property, when she's been under fire for the last 10 days. I reckon the Labour MPs have come out and tried to protect her. They've opened up an investigation, and she's proven what we all know. Politicians are filth. Absolute filth. All they're in the game for is to enrich themselves or to enrich the cronies. Especially the last epoch of politicians we've had, from Tony Blair into Boris Johnson, into Rishi Sunak, into this current Keir Starmer Labour government. People who are only there to enrich themselves or enrich the cronies. They've got no interest in what is going on at the coalface, what's going on for working people in their lives. All they care about is making sure that they protect themselves for future income, to make a load of money whilst they're at the trough. Now, that mightn't be as upfront as you would imagine. It might be going to work for Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, whoever it is, Big Pharma, after they've retired from the political sphere, and get a nice cushy speaking arrangements or cushy couple of after dinner things that make sure that the nest egg is well protected. In the midst of that, they'll do everything they can to open doors for the benefactors. Reina is in a bit of a conundrum in terms of there'd be more to come on this. She's resigned today, and I think that's the right thing to do, especially when she's been caught as blatantly as she has. But she's basically had a kid premature. It seems like praised the hospital, the NHS, because of but the kid's been born with complications because it was born 2 months, something like really 2 months premature or something like that. Then she sued the NHS from what I gather and had a significant payout, which has helped her buy a house, right? The house has then been put in a trust for the disabled son because it was bought, or the house was bought out the proceeds of whatever she sued the NHS for. And then she's got divorced from her husband, who's a lawyer, and she's then bought her dream flat in Brighton for 800 grand when she's on a salary of obviously a lot less than that as a minister. So how she's afforded that's a strange one. But then she's borrowed out the trust or sold her percentage of the property, but then she sold it at an overinflated price that no houses on the same road have gone for anywhere near to then afford this property, and then she's not paid the correct amount of tax on that property. Forgive me if I've got that wrong, but that's my understanding of it. Now, this is the Deputy Prime Minister who's criticised when she's been in opposition other people who've enriched themselves on the other side of the aisle. So you know where I'm at. I've always been quite vocal about spoiling my ballet. These are disingenuous people. These are people who are only after your vote, who have got no intention of helping you. And going forward, if you feel like they're going to, more fool you. More fool you. Whether that's Labour, Tory, Lib Dem, Green, whatever fucking ever lunatics in the middle of that. Farage has been out this week, I don't know whether you've seen it, answering questions in America about his relationship with Trump and Musk and big tech. And the thing for me is, he's criticising his own country about freedom of speech, and the Americans have really started to champion, which is bizarre, the Americans have really started to champion freedom of speech in our country. How is it that the Americans are doing more to help our citizens than actually our journalists and our media and our fellow countrymen? How are we living in a world in 2025 in the age of the internet where we're allowing adults to see certain things and not see other things for fear of they might like that, and they might get a little bit angry and voice the discontent about that, especially when it comes to children or when it comes to women, women's spaces, attacks on women, attacks on children, child mutilation, and that's from everything from the illegal immigration debacle we've currently got going on in our country, evidenced by the nonsense, the madness of some people's position around the mothers at Epping who have just been vindicated this week, where the person who's in the hotel, who shouldn't have been in the hotel, has been found guilty in a court of sexual activity with some of these children they were trying to protect. It's crazy. I mean, how if you live in your local community and you're a father or a mother and you have the school 2 months previously warning you that, hey, on the way home from school, some of our pupils are facing lions. There's lions that have been brought into this country, lions and tigers, and they're standing outside the Domino's Pizza, or they're hanging around by a dark alleyway or a dark passageway between the school and where some of these kids go home to. So the school sent emails out saying there's a pack of hyenas, lions, tigers, whatever it is, hanging around these areas. The locals get worried and upset and angry about that, try to do something about it, constantly run into roadblocks or called far-right extremists. And then one of these lions, tigers, hyenas attacks and mauls a girl or a couple of girls, and they're changed for the rest of their lives. And the people couldn't do anything about it. They weren't allowed to speak about the fact that they had lions, tigers, hyenas in places that lions, tigers and hyenas shouldn't be. And you're mad for believing that that's fundamentally wrong, that we shouldn't be doing stuff like that to make our women, our children vulnerable when it's absolutely not necessary, especially when it's at the taxpayers. People are going out to work and the women and children are being attacked by lions, hyenas and tigers who they're actually fucking paying for to be here, and they haven't wanted to do that. They're actually going out to work, and it makes their kids vulnerable because as they go off to school, they're getting the animal attacks. And if you say anything about it, you're a far-right extremist and you're a bigot and, there's something wrong with you. Crazy times. Absolutely crazy times. Right, back to football. Xi Jinping and Putin, they were hot mic'd. I don't know whether you've seen this, and they were hot mic'd talking, and they were basically saying you can live to be 150 years of age. They were talking about how they've made strides forward in. Now, I always think with the CCP and the Russian KGB, they're aware of everything at all times. So whether this is a noise up, but they're talking about the fact that they got hot mic'd and it got translated, and they're talking about how they think you can make people live to 150 by changing their organs, and you can farm organs from other humans. And they basically, the Chinese or the Russians have got to the point where they think you can live, they can get you to live to be 150, no problem, based on organ transplants. Now, I'm looking at that going, North Korea, Russia and China, that could be a full psyop just to noise everyone up as if, they've been hot mic'd. But it definitely happened. Try and find the clip, make your own mind up on it. Do you think we'll be able to live in our lifetime to be 150?
I'd imagine so. In our lifetime?
In our lifetime. Like, they're talking about it as like they're already at that point where they're thinking they're going to live to be 150, the two of them.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, right, back to football, or I'll try and get it back to football.
Shall we pick a little bet? I know it's Internationals Week, but...
Can I just think of this? I don't know what... Yeah, we're going to pick a bet, and it's International Week. Jed Spence, Stevie Wonder, who done the Rio with the shades on, who flattened a young kid last week, all right, not bad, but he's still only a young kid, has come out as the first Muslim player to be capped by England.
All right.
That's news to me, because he looks Jamaican to me, or he looks like African descent.
So...
He doesn't look like he's from...
He's obviously just...
Saudi Arabia, or where's his parents from?
I'm not too sure.
So was he born as a Muslim, Jed Spence, or is he someone who's converted to Islam?
I would have thought he was converted, but I'll have a little look now. I can see if I can find his heritage. He was born in England to a Jamaican mother and father.
So yeah, I was going to say Jamaica doesn't strike me as a Islamic country. I mean, I might be wrong.
I'm not too sure.
Anyway, well, I don't get it, and I think that's a mad claim if he wasn't.
Jamaica is predominantly Christian.
Yeah, well, again, that's what I thought. I didn't. So he's obviously converted on the road, rather than he was born a Muslim. But anyway, man in the sky. Sesko's come out and said he didn't realise how hard the Premier League was about the move. What a fucking morning. Fucking hell. What have you been watching, Benjamin? Get your fucking head out your ass, you fucking big fucking emu. But yeah, I don't know how you can pay that much money for somebody who doesn't understand the Premier League, has no fucking clue what's going on in the Premier League. A cracker for me was the Angela Rayner situation. I'll have to go back to it. When she's resigning, and Ed Balls, whose wife is the Home Secretary, Ed Balls is doing GMB, so it's like the government propaganda arm for ITV. And he's doing it, and he's asking her about Angela Rayner, but he's asking Eddie Izzard, who's dressed as a woman. Have you seen this? No. So Eddie Izzard, and he can't even give an answer. He's called something else though. He's not called Eddie Izzard. That's Eddie there. He was on this morning.
That's Eddie Izzard now?
Honestly, every time Eddie Izzard's struggling for ticket sales, he gets more feminine. And then, but he hasn't had the meat and veg off. He's still got the meat and veg on, so can't take him serious. And then that leads us into, I don't know whether you've seen the stuff with one of our former podcast guests, Graham Linehan. Yeah. So Graham's been met at Heathrow Airport, having come back from the States, where he's been on Joe Rogan, where he's been, I think, doing stuff about writing a sitcom with Rob Schneider, the guy out Deuce Bigelow, basically trying to get his career back on track, having been cancelled in the UK for, ultimately defending women's rights, trying to, his best to keep men out of women's sports. And he's come back to 5 armed police meeting him off the plane from America and been arrested for tweets that, you can only be shocked that the police feel it necessary to do that. But then it doesn't shock me, because I told you what I've been through. They've done exactly the same to me over something way less than that. Actually, when it gets into the nitty gritty of it, it all comes out way less than that. And I'm glad to see him. He's certainly taking some advice off the Free Speech Union, because I've seen Toby Young with him, but also he said he's going to sue the Met Police and Sir Mark Rowley, and I hope he does, because obviously our police force has been captured by this trans ideology and this fucking crazy left ideology, and it's been utilised to cause absolute disruption and havoc towards people who are trying to have debate and discussion about some incredibly complex issues. Like the most complex issue, the most incredible freedom of speech issue, believe it or not, is that a man or is that a woman? And if it is a man, sorry mate, you can't go in the fucking women's toilets and you can't play in the fucking women's sports game that's going on over there. Alright? Yeah, I know that's upset your feelings and you think your name's fucking Elizabeth, but your name's Ian and you got a 5 o'clock shadow and you're not going in them changes and you're not going on that pitch to play in that game. Yeah, tough shit, mate. I know it's hurt your feelings, but go on, fuck yourself off. Go and play with the fellas if you want to go and play, or go and play with your other transgender mates, but you're not playing with the women. Thanks. Dead simple. But unfortunately, that is not simple in our country. That is a conflated, complicated issue that people are getting arrested for pointing out. That's when you know people have lost their fucking minds. And in a period of time, people are going to look back and go, what side of history was you on? Was you one of those people who got a COVID vaccination and started cheering when men were women's boxing medals? Yeah? Was you one of them? Yeah. Well done, mate. Well done. The kids are going to laugh at you. People are going to look back at you and laugh their heads off when they fucking see some of the stuff like Eddie Izzard on fucking Good Morning Britain with the nonsense pottery and full regalia. Nonsense pottery. And he couldn't even fucking tell the truth that Angela Rayner should have been removed from office because as the Deputy Prime Minister and the Housing Minister, you cannot cut the books and try and take a fucking tax loophole. Can't. It's got to be whiter than white. And if you don't know that, how the fucking hell are you going to compete intellectually? You, David Lammy, Miliband, and fucking Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves, who can't string a sentence together about the economy, with Xi Jinping, with Vladimir Putin, with Donald Trump, and with the fucking crackpot who runs North Korea. How are you going to compete? How are you going to put Britain back on an intellectual footing on a global scale? We are a fucking laughingstock. Our freedom of speech is a laughingstock to the rest of the world, certainly the Western world. And some of the fucking people here who tolerate what they tolerate, in about 10 or 15 years' time, will look back the same way they probably look back at the last 10 years with absolute shame, because they've either had children mutilated on their watch, they've pushed crazy ideologies into a finger, they've taken experimental fucking technology and dressed it up as a vaccine, and they've been fucking tattletailing and telling tales on people who've gone out for 3 walks. It's been out for 3 walks a day. You're only allowed out for 1 hour a day. You're fucking worse than the capos in the concentration camps. And history will judge you. Remember what side of history you're on. International football, let's get into it. Nobody cares about it. Absolutely nobody cares about international football, do they? Unless it's a World Cup or the Euros, drop me out. Or the semi-final of the Copa at fucking South America. But the rest of it can go and fuck itself, because it bores me when you've got Andorra fucking ski operator instructors playing against England. You had Germany last night, who've got the world's best player in Florian Wirtz, who got beat by Slovakia last night. I only know that because it pops up on my feed that Wirtz has played in Liverpool and been beat because I've been...
Voltemade was starting like that, like you mentioned him.
We all know he's shit. We already know Voltemade's shit just based on his last 24 attempts at goal. and the way he just looks shit, doesn't he? Doesn't look like he's a goal. Doesn't look like he's a proper player.
Bambi on ice.
Doesn't look right. Doesn't move right. I mean, look, Eddie's got a good record, but I just think they've had to panic because Isak's fucking. They've had to cash the chips in on Isak because of Isak's behaviour. So I don't think in a normal world Newcastle would have taken him. I think he's obviously way down the pecking order, and it's like sometimes they come off for you. If everyone ever remembers, Luis Suarez was the bridesmaid when Liverpool bought Andy Carroll. Suarez and Carroll were bought in the same window. Suarez ended up becoming, I know he spat on someone the other day and he's fucking on the naughty step and everyone thinks he's a cunt again. But Suarez was a generational talent in the Premier League, and Liverpool getting him for what, 26, 28 million when they paid 38 for Andy Carroll was really good business. So could Walter Maida come in and do that? I suppose he could. We might just take to the league. Sometimes people come from another league scoring a load of goals. Remember Shevchenko come over, couldn't do it here. So it isn't necessarily always horses for courses, but I do think based on what I've seen so far, and it's a small window of Voltemade, I don't think he's going to be the heir to Alexander Isak's throne. But I hope I'm wrong, and it'll be good for Newcastle if he is. International football, Serbia pose a decent threat to England, I would say, Noah.
I'd say anyone does, honestly.
Can you name me 5 starters for Serbia?
4.
Well, there's a couple playing in the Prem.
Milinkovic, Savic.
Yeah. He's not playing in the Prem, he's playing in Saudi.
He plays in Saudi, but he's only young him still, but he's a good player.
Yeah, he plays in Saudi.
Playing in the Prem.
There's one definitely playing in the Prem.
4-0.
Definitely. He must have been close to Team of the Year last year. I don't think he got in it, but he must have been close to Team of the Year last year.
Milinkovic?
Yeah.
Is that the one about Team of the Year? Is that the one you're saying for Team of the Year? Yeah.
Did he get in Team of the Year?
I don't think he did.
No, he should have. He was in with the shout.
Van Dijk, I think it was.
Yeah, he was in. Oh, I thought...
He plays up front for them.
I thought Murillo got in it, no?
Oh, you might have, I don't even know.
For Serbia, go on.
Dusan Vlahovic?
Vlahovic. Yeah. I'm trying to find the team, yeah. Vlahovic is Juve, doesn't play in the Prem.
Oh, sorry. Is there a few in the Prem?
I haven't got the team up here, so I'm literally going through it here.
I'm just thinking of names off the top of my head.
When did he play them? Monday?
The keeper, haven't he got a... keeper?
Oh yeah, I've got a team, yeah.
Well, you got the last team.
I'm just trying to get the team for the England game. Scotland got a good game tonight against Denmark, is it? In Denmark. See where they're at. Seen Andy Robertson out this week. I don't know whether you've seen that. Talking about he backs himself. Obviously, Kerkez has got the run on him in the left back slot based on the game so far. But he's backing himself. He said, "I'll play loads of games," and he's obviously accepted that kind of position, isn't he? Where he's like, "Look, I'm not going to be the main man, but I still want to stay at Liverpool. I still feel like I've got a lot to offer." And he must be looking at Kerkez thinking, I think I can fucking
still
overthrow you this season in the big games.
Kerkez played a lot better though against Arsenal the other day.
Yeah,
again, he's coming into a new team.
He pushed forward and done well. You've got Lukic,
Sasa Lukic,
who's at Fulham.
Yeah.
Mitrovic, who's out in Saudi as well. Remember him? He was former Prem player. Yeah. That's the only one. They haven't got as many as I thought.
Who's the keeper?
Keeper is Petrovic, who was at Chelsea. He's now at Strasbourg. He's gone.
I knew the keeper.
Out there. Remember him? Petrovic.
Yeah,
Petrovic. Well, yeah, Milinkovic. They've got Pavlovic, who's at AC Milan. I don't know much about him.
Pavlovic, he was at Bayern Munich, I think, was he?
But again, they have got some decent players, but you've got to fancy England can't get beat by them. I mean, I know they beat Andorra last time out.
They definitely can. I
can't see. I mean, Albania caused the problem, so.
But I reckon it could be 0-0. Could easily be 0-0.
England.
Yeah.
Is that a good result for England?
Not really, no.
You're still going into a hostile country and getting a result. International football has to be respected. The best game for me tonight, Denmark, Scotland. In Europe anyway, Denmark, Scotland, and then that's about it. That's about it. Faroe Islands play Croatia. Who cares about that? Greece, Belarus, Iceland, Azerbaijan, Italy, Estonia, Moldova, Israel, Montenegro, Czech Republic, Slovenia, Sweden, Switzerland, Kosovo, Ukraine v France. Fuck that right off. League One. What have we got in League One? I'm just looking through the games there. Bradford Doncaster, weirdly, is a top end of League 2 clash from last year, which has ended up as a decent opening game in the start of League 1. Both have had decent starts, so that's a good game at the top. I'm going Huddersfield again this week. Got to beat them. Huddersfield against Peterborough, so that's in my bet. Bolton play Wimbledon at home, but I think Bolton I think Schumacher's under massive pressure at Bolton. They've had a terrible start. They've been really poor. Rotherham manager, whoever's doing Rotherham as well, they play Exeter at home. I wouldn't touch them because he's got to be under pressure. And equally, Wickham play Mansfield. They could be under pressure there. Wickham have had a terrible start by their expectation. Laddie was on my pro licence with me. Into League 2, Newport, Bristol Rovers. That's like a little bit of a derby. That's just across the men. Is it the Menai straight? Just across.
Someone said before, Bristol Rovers are back. Have they had a couple of results lately?
They beat Grimsby last time out, away from home. But I think that you have to give a little bit for Grimsby's
come down.
Lord Mayor's show. Did the extra time and pens against Man U or just pens? Just the pens, wasn't So they probably had a few sherbets after that, but a good away win. And then they obviously beat Cambridge at home. But Newport will be a good test for them. It's not far to go. It's, as I say, it's only across the bridge from Bristol into South Wales there. And Newport's tricky little spot to go to. But if they win away from home there in the half-12 game, I think you could say they maybe turned a bit of a corner under Darrell Clarke. But again, I still think they've got lots of work to do to get promoted. It's a little bit of a shit-off in League Two. Literally, when I look through it, I mean, Bromley played Gillingham. I definitely have to back Bromley this week again. I like them at home, Bromley, and it's the R5 game. And the reason being, I don't know whether you've seen it, I think Bradley Dack, who used to play for Blackburn, is at Gillingham, isn't he? So his head's got to be gone this week, because everyone's been saying Bird's been getting turfed on sort of seen. So I don't know whether he's going to be happy about that. Carlisle have got to beat Truro. That's a knocked on. Carlisle have got they've won during the week as well. Looks like Sparky, although he hasn't got a Scooby. Looks like they beat Brackley away during the week. Truro, that's one end of the country to the other. Truro won't have the riches to stay in a big boss hotel. They might even fucking travel on the day. I can't see it, but they might do against Carlisle. Carlisle at home, got to win that. Forest Green have got a tough game. The two knobs, Vince and Savage, pair of Herberts, playing against Hartlepool, who are going well. That'll be a good game in the National League. And then I'm going to go for, I don't know why I really like Southend, but Halifax are going all right. But I'm gonna bang in. Oh, you could go Rochdale, Braintree. Yeah, I'm going to go Rochdale. I was going to bang Southend in, and I'm going to bang Rochdale in. So, my bet this week, Huddersfield against Peterborough, Barnet, Shrewsbury, MK to beat Grimsby, Carlisle to beat Truro, Rochdale to beat Braintree, and Bromley to beat Gillingham.
10-1.
10-1?
Yeah.
Six-fold, 6 homes.
5, that's sorry.
Who else?
Huddersfield, Bromley, Carlisle, Rochdale, Barnet. Who's the one more?
Huddersfield, Barnet, MK.
Oh, MK.
MK against Grimsby.
Be about 15s then, this, I reckon. No more. 20.
20-1.
MK under even, so just bumped it up massively.
All right, 20-1. Now, you could also, if you want to have the same bet and leave one out, what was it, 10-1? If you left MK out of that, yeah, so it is there. That's where I'll be going this weekend. Not touching the international fixtures just because I fucking don't know. There's no place. They're like 1-7 or 1-14. They're as bad as the tennis odds. But if you like punting, then I think there's a little bit of value in the league this week, in Leagues 1 and 2 and the National League, but it will be tricky to pick a bet because I'm still waiting for it to shake out. Usually takes about 10 games before you can get a read on teams, doesn't it? Yeah. Let the window settle and stuff like that. Is there anything I've missed that you want me to cover?
No, that's all good. All good. Let's wrap it up.
Wrapping it up. Yeah. Okay, we're wrapping it up. That's us. Hope you've enjoyed it. About an hour there, aren't we? Just shy. Enjoy your weekend. As I say, bet responsibly. Don't be betting money you haven't got. Have a little tickle, have a bit of interest. Always nice to predict a few outcomes and get 20, 30 quid in your pocket. But don't be fucking blowing your wages or anything like that. Have a little cheeky fucking little tipple. So you make sure you have a couple of pints and enjoy your weekend. And we'll see you next week for more. Thanks for joining us. That's been The Full English.